During this Microsoft Access tutorial, I'm going to cover producing a report and using queries. To do so, I'm going to be using the June 2008 paper 2, and I'm going to go through question number 41 on Microsoft Access. Now, the first thing you need to do is read through all of the question and decide which points in the question you need to do in the query and which points you need to do in the report or the report wizard. So if we open Microsoft Access, you should have already know how to import the data from previous tutorial. So now I'm going to decide which out of these questions I need to do in the query and which I need to do in the report. The first question here says I need to produce a report which contains a new field called cost, which is calculated at runtime. This field will calculate the price multiplied by the reorder quantity. Now this question, yes, I do need to do in the query, so I'm just going to highlight that question to do in the query. Next question has the cost set to a currency of 2 decimal places. That needs to be done in the query also. Shows only the records where the stock is 50 or less and the product is not a special order. That needs to be done in the query also. Shows only the records, only the field, where the category, country, code, product and stock. That can be done in the report wizard. I'll highlight that in a different colour. Report wizard. Fits on a single page. Again, report wizard. There's a page orientation of landscape. Report wizard. Sorts the data into ascending order. Report wizard. Calculates the total cost. That can be done in the report design once the report wizard is finished. The total cost is 2 decimal places. Report design has the total as a label. Report design includes the heading report list at the top. Again, report design, and my name in the header or footer. Report design. So I've now decided which questions I need to answer at what section. So the first 3 points here I need to do a query for. So I have my data open and I then need to create a query. So if I go to the Create ribbon and then select Query Design, I need to choose from this table which table I want to insert, the J8 products in this case, so add, and then I can close this box. I always find it good practice to just add all of the fields regardless of whether I need them or not at this stage. So just by double clicking here I can add, and you see adding down the bottom there. To add them all. Okay, so the first part of this question says contains a new field called cost, which is calculated at runtime, which is the price multiplied by the reorder. So what we want is the price here multiplied by the reorder here. To do this, I go to the next box along, which is empty, and the new field needs to be called cost. So I simply type in cost and then colon. I can put a space here, it's no problem. Now when you're referring to a field that already exists, you need to use square brackets. So I'm going to do square brackets, and then price. Now this is not case sensitive, but it's important that you do spell everything correctly. So I'm referring to an existing field called price, so square brackets price, and then close my square brackets. And then go to times multiplied, so shift and number 8, and then square brackets, and then reorder. Again, just check your spelling. Now that should work. Now I always find it good practice to, after each point I've put into the query, to run to see if it works. So I'm now going to click run. So yes, that has worked. So I can now go back to my query. So view, design view, and we go back to my query. The next part says has the cost field set as a currency to 2 decimal places. So if I click back on the cost, which I've just typed in, and then at the top of the page in the design ribbon, click on property sheet, I can then format this to a currency, and it will automatically be 2 decimal places, but I will select 2 decimal places also. I can then close the property sheet. Again, just checking that's worked. Yes, it's currency, pound sterling to 2 decimal places. So back to the query, view, design view in the home ribbon. The next part of the question says shows only the records where the stock is 50 or less. So the stock, here is the stock, in the criteria box here, the stock. I'm going to do less than 51. I could say less than or equal to 50. I'm just going to do less than 51 for E, so that's a sign for less than 51. The sign for less than is next to the letter M on your keyboard. Again, I'm going to run to check that works, and then I'm going to check down here that there I have 50, so it does include 50, and everything else is less than 50. So that one has also worked. So back to my query, view, design view, and the product is not a special order. I'm just going to run again so I can see the data in the product. The special here is either Y or N, so I want all the ones which are N. So view, design view, and special, and the criteria is N. And if I click in another box, that should put speech marks around that. Yes, it has done. Gives me a bit more confidence that it should work. And click run, and I now have all the specials which are not a special order. Okay, now on to the next section. I need to do the report wizard. So I go to create, and then in the report section of the ribbon, select report wizard. This is asking me if I want to save. I'll select yes. Save as query 1. Okay. Now the question says category, country code, product, stock, price, and cost should be shown. So category, country, code, product, stock, price, and cost. So I've just sent the relevant fields over depending on what the question says, and then click next. The question doesn't ask for any groupings, so I can click next. The question asks me to in ascending order of code, so here I can click the down arrow and select code, and then click next. The question's asking me to have an orientation of landscape, so I'm going to select landscape and click next, and then finish. Now the next part of the question is asking me to calculate the total cost of the order below the cost column. So I'm going to close the print preview. I'm then going to go into the layout view, and I'm going to go to the cost column. In the cost column, I'm going to click on the amounts in the cost column, and then in the design ribbon we have a grouping and totals option here. In the totals option I'm going to choose sum. That should then add the sum of all these together to answer that question. The sum should be a currency to 2 decimal places, which it already is. If not, I can click on that and then click on the property sheet here and make the necessary changes. In this case, it's already done. The next question says this total here is labelled, and so to do that I'm going to go to view and design view, Now I can see here where that sum which I've just entered has gone. So I'm going to select from the design ribbon, I'm going to select label, to draw a box here to label, and the question says to label this total cost. When I've done that, the next question says includes the heading reorder list at the top of the page. So in the report header, I can simply change this to reorder list. That's that question done. And now this question, the last part of the question says, has your center number and candidate number in the right hand of the footer. So I'm presuming this means the page footer. So in the page footer option here, rather than the report footer, I'm going to move the page numbers to the side because I need to use the right hand side. I'm then going to insert a label. Be careful not to use the text box here, always use the label in the bottom right hand side of the page, and I'm going to type in my name, my center number and my candidate number in there. Okay, so that's a simple report produced. I go to view, print preview. There's my report. I have the total costs labelled, reorder list, and my name at the bottom right hand side of the page. Okay, now you try.